Hi everyone and welcome to the weekly live stream. This is Freedom is Not Free channel and I'm Stan. Probably you also know that I have a pretty big channel in Mandarin Chinese called Stan from Poland. 斯坦波兰的台湾音呐. Yeah. So today I wanted to share with you some news that are related to Taiwan, to the CCP, to China's infiltration and influence all around the world, including this beautiful country that I am in right now, the United States. So just let me check. Using a gimbal, you probably can see that right now I'm in a very, very famous spot, Central Park. And I love New York. Honestly, it's probably the most diverse, the most chaotic, inspiring, artistic, and hustling and bustling city in entirety of the United States. And we'll just walk around Central Park and discuss some recent news. Most of those news are Taiwan related. So let's start with first thing is Mayor of Taipei got detained. There are corruption charges against him. And right now, like the most recent piece of news that I've seen is in Taipei, there are some demonstrations of Kowenger's supporters. Kowenger is the mayor of Taipei, right? So those corruption scandals are related to him sponsoring indirectly some of the developers in Taiwan. And there was that project where they wanted to renovate where they wanted to renovate one of the 20 years old, more or less, department store. And yeah, they paid a lot and basically only allowed one of the developers to get the project. And of course, there were some rebate issues and like with most of those corruption scandals. But what is interesting and what is probably more important for my viewers and for Taiwan as a country is it's a very societal issue in Taiwan. The whole image of mayor of Taipei, how he portrayed himself, and how did he want the Taiwanese people to see him. And let me tell you, when he only got into politics, it was around 2013, 2014. If you're interested in Taiwanese politics, you probably know about that very big protest and student movement called Sunflower Movement, when the students occupied the legislature, the Taiwanese parliament. At that time, the pro-China party, KMT, they had the majority of the seats in the parliament. Just look at the view. So beautiful here, right? So, yeah, they had the majority. And the president at that time, Ma Ying-jeou, Harvard graduate, by the way. Harvard graduate, by the way. He wanted to pass one of those very controversial bills through the service exchange agreement between China and Taiwan, basically allowing very cheap labor force to come to Taiwan and to start small businesses and be employed by very small companies, including, for example, like hairdressers, restaurants, those kind of enterprises. So this was very dangerous for Taiwan. And at that time, the salaries in Taiwan were very low during Ma Ying-jeou's times. In Taiwan, there is a saying called 22K, meaning 22K. What does 22K mean? Mean that basic salary at that time, at Ma Ying-jeou, during the Ma Ying-jeou's period, it was only 22,000 Taiwan dollars. 22,000 Taiwan dollars at that time, it was around less than $800. And prices in Taiwan are pretty high. And of course, you cannot afford mortgage. You cannot even buy a scooter probably with a salary like that and pay for your rent, because rent is also expensive. But it costs many people earning just as much during Ma Ying-jeou's times. And that bill could have just lowered the salaries of the Taiwanese people, like make it would have made the situation even worse than it was at that time. So many of the students or young people who were like working those like low-paying jobs, they just occupied the legislature and stayed there for a very long time, basically to kill the bill, not to allow it to pass. At that time, Ko-wen-je, why am I talking about this guy? Ko-wen-je took part in one of those protests. He also sat in front. He also was sitting in front of the legislature and meditating together with the students and saying how it is important not to pass the bills secretly, because that bill, it could have been. It was passed by the KMT legislators. It was like a secret vote, like anonymous vote, and they wanted to pass it like within an hour. It was like very anti-democratic way of passing a bill, like no discussion, like nothing. Very similar to what people from Ko-wen-je's party did later on, people like Huang Guotang. So that was the rise of Ko-wen-je. 2014 is also very important for Taiwan, because it was the year when Ko-wen-je got elected as mayor of Taipei. And at that time, it's important how did the DPP, the Democratic Progressive Party, which is more pro-Taiwan, like not pro-China. KMT is very pro-China party, and DPP is more supporting Taiwan. I cannot say that they support Taiwan's sovereignty, and they protect Taiwan's sovereignty, and they don't want Taiwan to get too close with China. At that time, the DPP made a very big mistake by not even putting forward their candidate. And their candidate at that time was Ko-wen-je, because they didn't put their forward, right? So Ko-wen-je became the candidate, like, he ran as an independent, and that's also interesting because many people were asking, why don't you just join the DPP? He didn't want to. So he ran with the DPP's support, and he was elected as mayor of Taipei. During his first term, right after he was elected, he started criticizing DPP, fighting with the DPP, fighting against this party, and showed some of the pro-China stances that he has right now. Yeah, very internationally unfriendly mayor of Taipei. That's who Ko-wen-je was at that time. Then he was re-elected in 2018. The difference was just like, it was a very, very low margin. It was he got 3,000 votes more than the candidate of the KMT at that time. So much fewer people supported him at that time. And he went on that pro-China spree at that time, saying that Taiwan and China are brothers and they should cooperate together, and that Taiwan should allow students from China to work in Taiwan. So it was very, very, very pro-Chinese mayor of Taipei, probably even more than people in the KMT. Take a look. Isn't it gorgeous? Isn't it gorgeous? Isn't this the most beautiful city on earth? I think it is. I love New York. Even though it's dirty, even though it's chaotic, I just like the whole vibe of the city. So, coming back to Ko-wen-je, he was very popular with young people, and he is pretty popular with young people. And he wanted to create the image that KMT and DPP, both parties, are bad. He said, like, 蓝绿洋烂, basically meaning blue and green are both lame. Yeah. So this was his stance, and there was the second thing, saying that he will never, ever take any bribes, and that he is the most, how they say it in Taiwanese and in Mandarin, 清白. How they say it in Mandarin, 清白, basically like the cleanest of the candidates. So that's why he chose white as his color, saying that there are the blues and the greens, and he is white. I don't know why did he choose that. Why did he choose that color? But yeah, that's how he portrayed himself. And then he made his own party called Taiwan People's Party, sounding pretty communist to me. Taiwan People's Party, 民众党. And the Taiwan People's Party attracted many people that didn't want to work together with the DPP or were kicked out of the KMT. Basically, collecting those people who were not needed by the other two parties. There is another thing that Ko-Wen-je wanted to project onto the Taiwanese society. He wanted to portray himself as a person who is a doctor. That's why he has a lot of authority. Then he also graduated from the National Taiwan University, and he has always been talking that he is a NTU graduate. Basically, never highlighting any policies, like nothing, saying that he is an NTU graduate and he can take care of all the problems. That's one of the societal issues that is present right now in Taiwan. And in the end, most of the recent corruption scandals in Taiwan, they come from Taiwan's People's Party. Like the mayor of Hsinchu, which is probably one of the most important cities in Taiwan, probably just right after Taipei and Kaohsiung, because most of the high-tech companies are located in Hsinchu. And she got elected as a mayor, and when that corruption scandal occurred, Ko-Wen-je, mayor of Taipei, what did he say? That he said that women who got their education in STEM, STEM, can never take a bribe and can never become corrupted. Why did he say so? Why does he think so? But whatever. That's what he said. And in the end, she's facing 7-year imprisonment for that corruption scandal in Hsinchu. Okay. And how they used when she was when she used to be an MP in Taiwan, a legislator in Taiwan, and she used her assistant's salary for her personal needs, basically stealing money. And right now the scandal is with Ko-Wen-je. The sums are much higher. What is also interesting, he was probably the first mayor that, after receiving the funding from, not the funding, how can you describe it? Every political party and every presidential candidate in Taiwan, after the elections, they can get monetary support from the government. For each vote that they got, it's like 30 NT dollars, like $1. So if you get 1 million votes, you get $1 million. And usually, that kind of monetary support, it's being just taken by the party usually, and they use it for the development of the party or for buying more like advertisements or whatever for the party needs. He took it for himself and he bought a house with it, right next to some Polish people, right next to, where is it? Right next to the legislature. So yeah, this is what happened. And this scandal that I've been talking to you just right now, allowing some particular developers to get the project. It's also a corruption scandal, and he is facing like the longest prison term is probably like 30 years, like that, very long. Taiwan is very strict with its corruption laws. So yeah, this is the situation we have. And why did I tell you all of the history of this party and Ko-Wen-je as a politician? Because in Taiwan there is such I call it a societal problem. People like titles. People very believe in titles. So that's why I know many Taiwanese Americans that there is one thing I don't like about some of the people here, especially like older people. Whenever they start talking, first thing is they're discussing if you graduate from which school is it better, like those kind of issues, like MIT, Harvard, like all of the Ivies or UCLA. I mean, for them, probably UCLA is not good enough. That's the first thing. And they like to compare whose diploma is better. Same thing with Taiwanese schools. That's what they do. And if there is if you're a professor in a very specified area of knowledge, or if you're a doctor, or if you graduated from Harvard, then in Taiwan you'll be treated as king, or as a queen if you're a lady. Even though when you provide, for example, your commentary, even if it's not related to your area of expertise, and this is the problem with Ko Wen-je, with the mayor of Taipei. And he understood that if he uses that, and if he said, I'm a doctor, I will never steal. I'm a professor, I graduated from National Taiwan University, I have a different mindset from the other people. That's what he said. And right now, corruption scandals, and most of the people involved in those corruption scandals are from, if you look at their education, they're actually people studying STEM. These are the people who graduated from very good schools. So probably education and a title that you have should not be the main standard for evaluating if you're a good person, or if you're a good mayor, or if you're a good MP. So and right now he's facing imprisonment term. And what is interesting, and what I think you should pay attention to in Taiwan, is right now, even though there are some protests supporting Ko Wen-je, supporting the mayor of Taipei, there are much fewer people than, for example, took part in massive rallies in July 2023. In July 2023, those rallies had a main goal to make Taiwanese government do something about the housing prices, and call for justice reform in Taiwan. Much fewer people this time. Let's walk the Fifth. What do you think about it? Fifth Avenue. Yeah, I think it's gonna be good. Very touristy and bright. It's getting dark. So yeah, let's go to the Fifth. Just have to cross the street here. Alrighty. So yeah, come back to Taiwan People's Park. Where did I stop? I don't remember. Oh yeah. Supporters of Ko Wen-je are mostly young people, and people who are very dissatisfied with the current state of everything in Taiwan, including housing prices, including the fact that the Democratic Progressive Party has been in power for a long time. The former president was from DPP, and right now President Lai is also from the same party. Then they're also not satisfied with KMT, which is too pro-China, and they think that people like Ko Wen-je, even though pretending to be neutral, they don't believe that they will be real Chinese assets, even though he is the biggest disruptor in Taiwanese society, and in Taiwanese politics. Okay, so that's very important. Then I have to mention another thing, is the protesters that took on the streets this time, the numbers are there are fewer people. Most of the people, they managed to actually gather. It was in 2023 during that, they call it 716 protest, July 16th. Then probably it was during the presidential elections, January 2024, when there were many people during those Taiwan People's Party rallies. Then there was another attempt to mobilize young Taiwanese, or how they call them, little grass people. It was pretty recently, probably a couple of months ago, when Huang Guocang, KC Huang, he tried to put through his law, not his law, but his bill calling for justice reform and basically expanding the rights that that the legislature has. That was unconstitutional, and the decision of the higher court was that this law, of the constitutional court, was that this law cannot be passed because it violates Taiwan's constitution. But whatever. Casey Huan is also a lawyer. That time, they took on the streets, and it actually was pretty interesting because they all were protesting with guavas, it's a fruit, with guavas, and calling the DPP to bring them the plum powder, because in Taiwan they eat guavas with plum powder. Yeah, but that's like a very local Taiwanese thing. Then what happened then? So you see, like there is a tendency, there is a trend here. Fewer and fewer people. And this time, even fewer people. What does it mean? The people, they are disappointed with KOLs. They don't believe in KOLs. They don't believe in Taiwan People's Party anymore. So that's a good thing for Taiwan society. And I think for everyone, and for the Taiwanese viewers, it should be another reminder that you shouldn't believe a person just because he says that he's a doctor or that he graduated from National Taiwan University. It shouldn't be the main reason why you cast a vote for him or for her. So let's see how it goes. I see that many of the former KOLs supporters are actually turning more green-ish. I don't think that they will ever vote for the KMT, but who knows? I think right now the mayor of Taipei, the new mayor of Taipei, who is of the KMT party, Jiang Wan, and whose ancestry goes back to Chiang Kai-shek family. I think he's in New York right now. I don't know where, but probably somewhere in New York. And he's going to Boston soon. And not very sure about that though. So yeah, going back to KOLs and to all of this little grass phenomenon. With the little grass, I think for the DPP, for the ruling party, because the biggest winner of this whole situation is Casey Huang, because he'll probably just take over the party. And secondly, the second winner is the KMT, because that dissatisfaction with the current state of events in Taiwan made people vote for KOLs party, granting them additional 8 seats in the parliament, making them the majority alongside with the KMT. So KMT also won here. So for the Democratic Progressive Party, they have to learn how to communicate with this group of people, with those very dissatisfied youngsters. And I mean, media communication is probably not the strongest part of the Taiwan People's Party. Martin says, I personally think the White Party is history soon. I think it will be taken over by Casey Huang. And what happens then? I don't know. What happens then? I don't know. Maybe. But I think they played their role already right now, because most of them, like all of them, like all the 8 people, they are in the parliament already. You cannot get rid of them. You cannot recall them. They're there. And they will be there, and they will be voting alongside the KMT party. So, yeah. So, yeah, they played their role. Next time there might be like a different party that will attract those little grass people. So, look. What is that? Trump Tower. Yay, Trump Tower. There's a lot of police here. NYPD, New York Police Department. But it's a beautiful building. Like, you can see it from far away. Even in New York, it's like very, like gold. Trump likes gold. So he chose that color. Yeah, police is everywhere. Yeah. Are you guys looking forward for the debate? I'm looking forward. It's gonna be interesting this time. Yeah, I had a meeting today, and then I was filming in the area, like asking people who do they support, Trump or Kamala. Who do you think won in New York City? I have to, I have to calculate like, but I think with those videos, first of all, the person has to agree to be filmed. Then, yeah, if they say one thing, doesn't mean that they will cast their vote as they said. But what was interesting and what is interesting is the reason why do people support either Trump or Kamala Harris. Um, and yeah, percentage wise, I think it was like 50%, 50-50. I think like similar numbers. And talking about the reasons why they support, I think with Trump, there is a big dissatisfaction with the economy and with prices, with the border. Many people mention borders. There was a Jewish person who said that he supports Trump because he's Jewish. That's probably Israel related. And for Kamala, it was not dissatisfaction with any policies. What's interesting, Trump supporters or people who said that they will vote for Trump, they didn't say that they vote for Trump because they hate Kamala. But for Kamala supporters, most of them, they hate Trump. So for them, it's not a vote for Miss Harris, but rather a vote against Trump. So you see how divisive is the United States politics right now. So yeah. Then what else? Next topic I wanted to discuss with you, yeah, and this is the Fifth Avenue. If there are beautiful churches around here, there is a St. Patrick's Cathedral, Catholic church, beautiful, just gorgeous. New York is a gorgeous city, and I think walking in central New York and talking about Taiwanese politics, it's pretty good format for this channel. For this Freedom is Not Free channel. It's like, land of the free, home of the brave, the busiest city in the land of the free and the home of the brave. I love America. I mean, that's what I said on the Mandarin channel, that I have 3 favorite countries, and I cannot say like which one is number 1, number 2, and number 3. I equally love Poland, Taiwan, and the United States. I have very deep relationships with the 3. So, yeah. And I call all 3 of these countries my home. I spend a lot of time in Germany, but I cannot call Germany my home. I never feel home in Germany. But in America, like always, it's like I don't know. It's the place to be. It's the place to be. So yeah, let's get going. Next topic is the CCP assets within the dissidents, within Chinese dissidents circles. Yeah, within Chinese dissident circles. Yeah, I think you can say it like that. Yeah, this CCP assets. So there is a scandal about one rock star dissident, like celebrity dissident, called Wang Jingyu, that he was involved in scamming schemes. It's on NPR. You can read the detailed report. Basically, he lived in a house of one of the Chinese people in the Netherlands, applied for asylum, and he was scamming people. Not gonna tell you like about what did he do in particular, but he was found to be a scammer. And right now, many Taiwanese like anti-CCP YouTubers are also making content about that. I had some interactions with that person, and I felt like he's a pretty strange guy. Why? When the Prime Minister of China, Li Qiang, when he came to Berlin, there were many like little pinkies supporting him. I think they organized everything for the little pinkies, and there were also some protests by Falun Gong practitioners, by Uyghur people in Germany, and by some Chinese dissidents. But how the police treated them, I think it was not good. They didn't allow them protest next to Deutsches Bundestag, next to the parliament building, but rather behind the building where nobody could see the protesters. Like that was kind of humiliating. And that Wang Jingyu guy, he was supposed to come. He was supposed to come, and a friend of mine was calling him. Like I don't have any direct contact with him. It was a friend of mine who knew that he would come, and he was just not answering phones. Probably like with most of those people like Wang Zhian who pretend to be anti-CCP, but in reality what they do is, in Chinese there is a very good saying called 小骂大帮忙. They criticize a little, and they help a lot. They criticize a little and they help a lot. This is basically what they do. And they're very afraid to even appear in the same frame with Uyghur people, with Tibetans, with Taiwanese, and so on and so forth. With people that the CCP doesn't like, because they're smart. None of those folks is stupid. They're very smart in what they do and what they want to do and what kind of... Because when they come back to China, if anything comes out against them, for example, a picture with a Uyghur, it can always be used by the CCP. They know everything about the CCP. That was the first interaction with him. The second interaction was when I made a video, why should we boycott the Black Myth Wukong game? Because it's made by a Chinese company, there is a CCP office and CCP officials within Chinese companies, and also there is like your personal data security concerns if you're playing this game. And if you're playing this game, you basically are paying to the Chinese government. And how they produce this game, they're also they also get a lot of benefits from the CCP's policies, right? Like very like unfair, for example, unfair trade or tax rebates, so on and so forth. So I said it's not a good thing to support anything, any kind of product that comes out of the Chinese companies, or any Chinese company which is big enough, because they will have the CCP party office within that company. Yep. Okay. So I made a video, or it was just a post on X. I'm so not used to saying like post on X, tweet, right? Yeah, no, a tweet on Twitter. It was a post on X where I said like, why shouldn't we support? And basically especially for the Taiwanese people, because China is bullying Taiwanese gaming companies. Like there was the Red Candle Games, and Chinese government actually applied pressure to foreign platforms like Steam and different app stores to remove their game called Devotion, as it was criticizing Xi Jinping in one of the scenes. There was like a spell on the wall somewhere where it said that Xi Jinping is he's Winnie the Pooh. He looks like Winnie the Pooh. They demanded those platforms to remove this game, and those platforms complied. They really did remove this game. So China does everything to make Taiwanese companies suffer and to make Taiwanese people suffer. And look at that church. Before we keep on talking, this is St. Patrick's Cathedral. It's huge. It's enormous. Insanely beautiful. Probably my favorite cathedral, my favorite church in New York City, Catholic church. Yeah, let's keep on going. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. It's gorgeous. Yeah. So yeah, let's get going. That was the second interaction, and that Wang Jingyu guy, what he said that being Chinese is not the original sin, something like that, and you shouldn't boycott Chinese companies just because they're Chinese. No, being Chinese definitely is not a sin at all, but complying with the CCP's rules is. working and allowing the CCP party members to control you. It is. You can leave, you can not comply, you can stop producing things for the CCP. Otherwise, I mean, you have to be if you really think that, because he's a dissident, right? He escaped China, he probably disagrees with what's going on in China, and you probably should understand that those policies, indirectly, they lead to countries that actually consider freedom as one of their core values, lose and be treated unfairly internationally by bullies like China. And of course, you cannot say that this is the fault of that company, but there is a CCP official in that company, there is a censor in that company, and that company, they didn't only comply, they supported Chinese censorship by sending requirements to all of the reviewers of the game. Don't say what you think about China. A game about China, based in China, talking about a very Chinese story, but you cannot say what do you think about China. I think this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. So yeah, that's why I don't think I think we shouldn't play this game. And there are so many better games than Black Myth Wukong. If you like, Chinese cultural elements, like Dynasty Warriors might be a better choice. Or some Taiwanese games like Detention. It has some myths and legends and, like some religious elements in that. Very good game. So, yeah. And I thought that's kind of strange because he basically parroted and mirrored all of the pro-CCP key opinion leaders, and YouTubers, and journalists, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Basically like that. These were our two interactions. So yeah, I thought, strange guy. Probably someone like Wang Zhi'an, another guy who lives in Japan and doing like kind of same thing, like criticizes the CCP a little and helps the CCP a lot, and is acting as a big disruptor, like during the last time Taiwan's elections. And this is what the CCP knows. I mean, like, that's the thing I'm repeating, and I'm tired of repeating that kind of thing. For China and for Russia, it's not important, like, okay, in America, it's not important who wins, if it's Trump or if it's Kamala Harris. No. But China wins and Russia wins when the United States, when the society in America is divided, when we fight each other instead of standing together. This is when they win. So I think no matter who wins in these elections, would it be Kamala, would it be Trump, the other side should not be unreasonable. And we still have to find a way to stand together. Like, I hope so, at least. I mean, no matter if you're a conservative, if you're liberal, I'm more conservative leaning, and I'm not hiding it. If you look at what the two parties support, I'm 100% standing with the Republicans. I don't think Trump is the right person to lead America. I don't think Kamala is too, though. So, well, let's see. And then whoever wins, it would be like compromises would have to be made, like with both conservatives or progressives or liberals. So yeah, it's a very complicated issue. What happened? Oh my god! Off Wi-Fi. Yeah, when I just walked by Starbucks and my phone picked their Wi-Fi. Yeah, and the signal just disappeared here. I mean, yeah, just switch it off. Just switch it off. Okay, let's get going. And here comes the next issue. The infiltration. And you probably have seen the news when Russian government was paying Lauren Chan, like a Canadian Hong Kong influencer, and her husband. They had like a conservative media company, like conservative, because that's not real conservatism. That's rather conspiracy theory spreading kind of thingy. Very divisive. And then this company was paying the other influencers, including Tim Pool, which is huge. His channel is like very big. Benny Johnson, I think Benny Johnson is more. Probably he didn't even know where the money comes from. He's that kind of guy. I think he's just like a Trump supporter, and yeah. I mean, most of his content is just reposting the snippets of Trump's speeches or actions or whatever, and he doesn't even say anything. And he's like, "Yay!" Like that kind of content. Pretty silly, I think. And Rubin Report and Laurel Southern, Lauren Chan and Laurel Southern, who is also Canadian. I mean, oh, can you hear me, guys? Let's see. No, it should be all right. No, the sound should be all right. No, the sound should be all right. The sound should be all right. Okay. Yeah. So these things. And yeah, and they were paid. Oh my God. If you signed a contract with them, they gave you $100,000. You can buy a house in Poland for $100,000. And then they paid them $400,000 a month. I mean, those guys are millionaires. Those guys are millionaires over there. Yeah, and right now, like there is an indictment, and they're being under investigation. But yeah, Russia has money. And then China-related scandal is one of the officials here in New York, one of the assistants to the governor, a Chinese lady, was working for the CCP, was spying against the United States, gathering intelligence, disrupting all of the pro-Taiwan movements. For example, just let me give you an example. If there is a Taiwanese official who wants to come to the United States, they were trying to reach out to governor's office, right? And then that lady just told them, no, you cannot come. The governor is busy. And the governor didn't even know that Taiwanese officials are trying to contact. Sorry? No. Did I? Come on. We're like babies. You dropped the money. I was actually scared. Did I drop the money? No, I didn't drop the money. Yeah, whatever. So, yeah, let's get going. What do I want to... Yeah, they interrupted me. They interrupted my thought. Yeah. So, there is a Chinese spy here, and there are Russian assets there. Are those key opinion leaders as influential? Probably not. Would they have impacted the election in a way that Trump would have won or Kamala would have won? Also probably not. But what could they have done? Because those videos that they published, like acting as Russian propaganda assets, they didn't even get enough views. But, there is such thing as Slipper's effect. Slipper effect. Is it Slipper's effect or Slipper effect? I don't remember. Basically, you heard something somewhere, you don't know the source of the information, but it adds up to your overall perception of the situation. So they watched it on Tim Pool, on Benny Johnson, on Lauren Chan, saying like, Ukraine bad, Russia good. Like Tim Pool said that Ukraine is the biggest enemy of Taiwan, of the United States. Benny Johnson said that I think Ukraine was responsible, or he said that allegedly was responsible, like a very, like you have to be careful with your words, for terrorist attack in Russia, like things like that. Do their viewers even care about it? I don't think so, because with many of the conservatives, I think conservatives are mostly focused on U.S. internal issues, but it could have like shifted their perception. So next time, whenever anyone said like Ukraine is bad, they wouldn't have probably disagreed. They wouldn't disagree. So yeah. What next? And what does it mean for all of us? We have to be vigilant because there's a lot of Russian propaganda on the left. There's a lot of Russian propaganda on the right. And the most unreasonable ones and the most radical ones, the most divisive ones, I also think that Candace Owens is probably working for someone because she went down like very quickly. Very quickly. I used to watch her when she was on Fox. Then during like early days when she was on Daily Wire, it was like a little bit conspiracy, like just a little conspiratorial. But right now she's like full on anti-Semitic and hating on all the people. Yeah.
How many people are Russian?
Right now, 163. That's my second channel. I got more than 1,000 on the other one.
Like a YouTube? Or
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
I'm just gonna.
Yeah, you can follow me. My English channel is called Freedom is Not Free. Yeah, like what Reagan said. Freedom is not free.
What do you do?
What do I do? I do media. I'm an independent journalist. It's a politics, U.S. politics, and my main channel is it's mostly concentrated on issues of Taiwan. So I'm a big Taiwan independence supporter.
I'm from Iran.
You're from where?
Iran.
Ah, Iran.
Yeah, Iran.
Okay. Freedom to Iran.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for following.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, great.
Good night.
Have a good night. Yeah, got myself a new subscriber. That's why I like New York. People from all around the world are here. Yeah. Iran. Nevertheless. Okay. So, what's next? And what's the most important thing? We have to be vigilant. I will be repeating that again and again and again. We have to be vigilant. And I think I will go over there. Yeah, we'll just make a little circle. Then I'll read your comments, guys, and we will finish our today's live stream. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, coming back to those issues. There's a lot of like pro-Russian propaganda on the left and a lot of pro-Russian propaganda on the right. Same thing with China. And there is that media, it's more progressive. I think that's where Johnny Harris used to work, called Vox, V-O-X, not Fox, but Vox. They actually made a very good, it's not a diagram, but it's like a chart, basically listing all of the connections of Russian propagandists and CCP propagandists. And in many cases, they overlap. For example, people like Brian something Bertelik or whatever, Danny Haipong, who is actually from New York City, from Brooklyn, as far as I remember. Not sure. Right now, he's in China. Tucker Carlson, and then some big ones. Yeah, those are like CCP shows are like smaller ones, but they do overlap in their. I mean, in the overall narratives they're trying to spread, they overlap a lot, and they have connections. They're interconnected with each other, and it's also related to. I've been talking about it on my Chinese channel for quite a while about how Russia and China cooperate. And how many agreements did they sign with each other? For example, in 2006, 2008, like different media outlets in Russia and China, basically saying that, oh, we cannot say anything bad about China and China cannot say anything bad about Russia. That started like more than 20 years ago. More than 20 years ago, they have been preparing for that. And right now, they're just doing everything to disrupt our societies, to make us divided, to make us fight each other, to make us forget what our core values are. And this is what worries me the most. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but as I said, freedom is not free, and we have to fight our freedom, or fight for our freedom in all the possible ways. Not meaning like fighting in a war, but doing everything to protect our freedom and be very vigilant with the content that we consume, especially if that content is on social media. I mean, you're watching me right now. Fact check me. Fact check me on every single issue. I'm trying to do like the basic fact checking for the content I put. Sometimes the news are, you know, sometimes there are updates. Sometimes there is something new coming up. Sometimes there are fake news that are being spread. So fact check and try to get as many sources of information as you can, both like from the legacy media and from independent media. So yeah, this is what I wanted to say. Lao Zheng, if I can travel to America, I'll become the first tourist in Los Angeles. Oh, LA is great. I love LA. Also one of my favorite places in the US. My relatives are in LA, so I visit pretty often. Right now, it's less safe than what it used to be, but still, I think LA is okay. It's not as bad as San Francisco. But if you're traveling to LA, you have to get yourself a car. Like, you have to rent a car. That's 100%. The city, it's not very walkable compared to New York, for example. And in the US, like, the US is the best country that you can explore if you have a car. So if you come here, rent a vehicle. Or you have to only limit yourself to like big cities like New York, like Boston, or like Washington, D.C., like where you can walk and explore. But if you want to see like real America, you have to drive. Or if you go to Texas, you'll have to drive. You have to drive there, mate. Yeah, but I like driving. That's why I'm very biased. I have an enormous positive bias towards America. I love America. I love everything that's related to America, especially like that kind of patriotic, freedom-loving, limited government, like gun ownership, freedom of speech, freedom of everything, like that kind of American spirit. So yeah. Okay. Cal Hans Johns. Oh, I haven't seen you for a while. How's it going? Good evening. Howdy. How's it going? We need The Rock to be the president of the United States. The Rock. You mean, yeah, he's like in MMA, like he's an actor, right? The Rock. Yeah. Are you also in NYC, Cal Hans Johns? It's a good city. Martin, 20 years in Taiwan this coming Sunday. Happy anniversary. Oh, that's longer. That's longer than me. Yeah, that's longer than me. Well, Taiwan is great. I love it. Yeah. I thought you loved mainland China. I I like the people in every country that I visit. I didn't like the government, like, never. And China is a very problematic place and a very problematic society to begin with. But there are nice people. There are nice people everywhere. And probably, especially here in the United States, some of the most vocal and prominent freedom supporters actually come from those totalitarian countries like China, like Chen Guangcheng, like a lawyer, human rights lawyer. He lives in America right now. Many people, they contribute to the United States, they contribute to freedom, they contribute to our values. So that's probably the best thing about this country. It's very accepting to everyone if you have the same set of values. Yeah. Okay. This is Bank of America Tower. Uh, yep. I don't know how good can you see, but yeah. And let me see if there are any more. Hello there, Stan. Welcome to New York. Visit East Village and downtown Manhattan when you have the chance. I don't know if I'll have a chance this time. Maybe next time, though. William Edward Hackman. I'm a Christian, and religion is better than politics anyway. Yeah, I am also Christian and Catholic. Yeah. Christ is our Lord. Christ is our Lord. So, yeah, these are the topics I wanted to discuss with you today, guys. And thanks for tuning in. Probably see you next time. See you next week. Hi! And I'm ending the live stream.